show your support by checking out these events.
You asked me what I went through on that road through hell that brought me back to you. I told you war can change a man. It broke your heart, but you tried to understand. You wish you were there for me, but baby, can't you see that you were there? In that picture in my pocket, I carried everywhere. Yeah, you were there. On those burning battlefields and in my prayers. Yeah, you were there. When the desert moon began to rise, if I could find a quiet moment in the fight, I'd read your letters, every one of them. And they gave me hope I'd kiss your lips again. You wish you were there for me, but baby, can't you see that you were there? In that picture in my pocket, I carried everywhere. Yeah, you were there. On those burning battlefields and in my prayers. Yeah, you were there. And I know you fight battles of your own, and there are days that you struggle to stay strong. But I'm here for you, 'cause you were there. And in the night you're close to me. You pull me back when my dreams take me to dark places over there. And I thank God that you were there. Yeah, you were there. You were there.
T-minus 1 minute. T-minus 50 seconds. T-minus 40 seconds. T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hi, my name is Doug. I'm the president of Guardians of the Purple Heart, and we are a 501c3 approved nonprofit organization based here in southeastern Connecticut that specializes in obtaining items or services for Connecticut combat wounded veterans that aren't being met by other organizations like the VA. So what we like to think is where the VA or these other establishments have to leave off because of their corporate red tape and limitations, we can come in behind them and fulfill these needs by reaching out to the community, working with our vast network of supporters, and just coming together as a whole and supporting these Purple Heart recipients and improving their overall quality of life. A lot of people ask us how do they get involved and how do they join in on the fun with us. A lot of things you could do. Follow us on Facebook, #1, Instagram, Twitter. Go to our website at gotph.org. You can send donations, send us a message. Spread the word of what we're doing. All the Connecticut Purple Heart recipients, we are out there trying to make a difference in their lives. So please give us a hand and join in on the fun.
Hey, this is Texas singer-songwriter Sergeant Scotty Frazier, proud to have served in the United States Marine Corps and now proud to serve with music. I am honored to be interviewed by and partner with Fubar Studio, the best in military and veteran supporting podcasts. Check them out, and thank you for your service for our American heroes. Also check out scottyfrazier.com for more of my music, and check us out on Spotify, Amazon, and where all good things are streaming. Semper Fi, rock and roll.
Bring your appetite down to Big Belly Cafe, 140 Gore Street, Webster, Mass. for curbside, takeout, and indoor seating. Visit bigbellycafe.com to view their hours, menu, and order online. For reservations, please call ahead at 508-949-2433. Follow Big Belly Cafe on Facebook for weekly and daily specials. And remember, all veterans receive a discount for their recognition of service. Big Belly Cafe. Reedy's Archery, located in Middleborough, Mass. at 121 Wood Street, has been a staple in the area since 1993 and has become the one-stop pro shop for competitive target archers and bow hunters from New England. Reedy's is open Monday through Thursday, 12 p.m. to 8 p.m., Saturdays, 10 p.m. to 4 p.m. Make sure to visit reedysarchery.com and follow them on Facebook to keep up with upcoming events. Reedy's Archery, dedicated to the archer. Wolf Aviation Network is the only flight school in the area utilizing the Airwolf Simulator AATD and the specialized Part 61 training program designed to save students money while increasing safety and efficiency. Creating safe pilots is our first priority. Our flight sim is the perfect training device. It is designed to prepare students adequately before taking flight in our aircraft. Fly with us and save money. Wolf Aviation. Reserve your spot at 413-563-1929 and visit wolfaviationnetwork.com.
This is what we train for, every day.
We
just received new intel that there's an enemy presence at the airstrip compound.
All those years. When you're the first to arrive, it's not enough to be ready. You have to be relentless. It's our job to control the ground and the sky, wherever they may meet, even behind enemy lines. They call us one-man air traffic control towers, but we're more than that.
Ivy Lima Charlie, break. Airfield is stable. You are clear to land.
We turn hell into an airstrip. And clear the way for others to follow.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Welcome everybody. Welcome to another episode. I'm your host Doug, and today we've got a special guest with us today. It is Chris Turner. But before we get
What's up?
What's going on? Before we get it over to him, I want to give a big shout out to all of our sponsors and our donors. Without you guys, we wouldn't be able to do what we do here at Fubar Studios Veteran Reinforcement, as well as Track Day for Veterans. It's where racing meets freedom. We wouldn't be able to bring those veterans out to those races. And so, again, I want to give a big shout out to all of our donors and sponsors. It's Big Belly Cafe in Webster, Massachusetts. Check them out. They are an absolutely amazing place to get anything that you want, and they give you a great discount for all veterans and first responders. Also, we have Reed's Archery down in Middleborough. If you're looking to get any new bow stuff, hunting stuff, definitely check them out. And then we also have Veteran Development Corporation that is also down that way, which is in Weymouth. Check them out. They are a big supporter of us. Definitely do appreciate them. We've got LVJ Trailers down in Norfolk, Massachusetts. Dudley, Jimmy's Pizza in Dudley, Massachusetts. We also have Larry's Landscape Supply in Charlton, Massachusetts. We also have new that is just came out. It is Cornerstone Bank here in Massachusetts as well. And so, again, without these individuals, it would not be able to be possible. And a big shout out to all of our race car drivers that we have at the that go with the Track Day for Veterans, which is Derek Roby, Doug, David Cohen, and then Doug Vine. And then we also have Chris Walsh, and then we also have Artie as well. So definitely check them all out. I'll have those down below in the comments so you can click on them. But now to the main event on this thing is we've got Chris Turner with us. And Chris, I'm going to hand it over to you, and you just go with it. Tell us about you.
Doug, what's going on, man? You said Worcester. Man, that's the land of the perfect storm, right? Man, yes. I love that movie, and mad respect for the Krabbies, dude. I'm telling you. That's really cool. I mean, I've got it on my bucket list to come up to Boston and hit Worcester and go up the whole seaboard, man. Because there's a, me being being who I am and being a Marine Corps veteran and just knowing history and whatnot, I've always wanted to do like this history tour to where I start in Gettysburg, come through and hit Valley Forge, and then come through Boston and hit Boston and up through Worcester, and then come all the way down. Come all the way down and hit DC, man, and kind of do that, because I think that's one thing that's happened is our foundation as a country and who we are has been completely lost, and myself included. I mean, I know I learned about it, but it's one thing to actually learn about it in school. It's another one to actually be able to go there and see it for yourself. But yeah, man, I appreciate you having me on. I know we've been anticipating this for a couple months now, and it's really perfect timing too, man. I really appreciate it. So thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely, and it's an honor to be able to get you on here because I know you're a busy individual. You're on the go, doing your thing. You know, you're doing your music. You're doing your, you know, being who you are as a regular individual. You know, keeping that stuff going because I mean, you got to have that balanced life of, you know, being that musician, but also being, you know, being with your family. You know, your mom and dad and all that. You know, you got to be able to have that balance of life and have that me time as you're sitting in your war room right now. Is what I'm guessing that's what where you're at, like your own little.
That's exactly where I'm at. I love my war room, man. You can see the Marine Corps flag in the background.
Absolutely, and this is mine. This is my war room. This is my studio. This is my everything. This is where if I want to grab my guitar over here and play it. Or grab my flight controls, go flying a plane on my computer. All realistic stuff. It's enjoy time. I've got my grenade as well if I want to just throw it and just see if I hit the wall with it.
That's right.
You know.
Yeah, whenever I first moved here, man, you know, the house that I bought right beside it, and I moved at a time. I moved in 2010 when the housing market was really horrible in the country as a whole.
Yeah.
So I bought really, really cheap. And there was a detached building off to the side where the woman who owned it beforehand, she had it as a cat rescue place. I mean, she was known as a cat lady throughout the neighborhood because at any given time she'd have 100 cats running out of the building, right?
Jeez.
So I came in here and it was this ugly, like lime green with flowers painted all over the walls and linoleum floor half torn up and cat mess everywhere, and it stunk. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to paint the walls Marine Corps green, and this is going to be my rehearsal space and my somewhat studio if I ever get to the point to where I'm doing interviews. Oddly enough, I'm doing one now.
Yep.
To where, you know, I'm going to lay it out, and I put flooring down, and I painted it, and I was like, you know what? This is going to be my war room. Yeah. And that's what we do, man. We come out here before we go on the road. This is where we rehearse. This is where we do, like, you know, some content. You know, if I'm doing stuff on content, it's worked out really good. And it's my space, but you're talking about, you know, trying to find a balance. What I've come to find out is like when you can't find that balance, man, it's really easy to get lost in the not that I'm always a character, but I think as a performer we all have a character side to us.
Yeah.
But if you don't find the balance to go hunt or go fish or go back home undetected to where you can just relax for a minute and just decompress, man, it's easy to get caught up in it. So you know, I try to find a good balance in between the two to where I keep my sanity, and it's always really, really cool whenever I'm humbled because I humble very, very easily.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's you know, I say I didn't choose this life; it chose me. Right. So it's all about, like you said, maintaining that balance as well. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, we work really hard, and I'm glad that we was able to carve out some time to do this, man. Because I always love doing these interviews and talking to people and letting them know what's going on in my life.
Oh, absolutely, and again, appreciate it. I want to get into some of these questions and talk to you about it. You know, and see where, and just let it go where it goes. You know, what really inspired you to play music? You know, as we were talking before, you started to play and stuff like that when you were in the Marine Corps over in Okinawa.
Mm-hmm.
What really inspired you?
I think the biggest thing that inspired me was, you know, I'm not a woe is me kind of guy. I don't play victim or anything like that very regularly, but I can say, you know, where I came from and how I grew up, it was really tough. And there was always a song there that got me through what I was going through. And it might sound cliche, but there's so much truth in that.
Yeah.
So, you know, whenever I was having a bad day or something would go wrong, whenever I was a teenager or whatever it was, I would just write. I would write poems. And because I loved songs and I didn't have an instrument, I didn't know how to play an instrument, so I just write it. Yeah. And I've still got the same folder that I started whenever I was a teenager in my top sock drawer upstairs because when I first moved to town, I had a songwriter tell me that keep it PG, that crap makes the best fertilizer.
Yeah.
And now I go back and look at the crap that I wrote, but I can remember what I was writing at that time. And because I've become such a better songwriter now, I can say what I was trying to say then, but do it with more substance now.
Yeah.
So I started doing that, and then I started learning playing guitar because music has helped me through a pinch so much in my life. And, you know, I'm not gonna lie, when I first moved here, it's like, I'm the next big thing. I want to do this, and this. But
yeah,
as I get here and I dive into it, and the songs that I'm writing and the songs that I'm recording, because everything I record, I don't write everything I record.
Yeah.
I generally, like this new record, For the Country, that I've got coming out, which actually is going to land. And with that particular record, I wrote 4 of the songs, and 3 of them were pitched to me. Because I'm the kind of guy, I'm not such a narcissistic songwriter to where my song has to be on the record. I treat every album like a book. And there's a concept that I have in my head. And if somebody can outright me in what I'm trying to say,
yeah,
I'll cut their song in a heartbeat if they'll give it to me. Because I know my fan base and my demographic, and I know who I'm trying to relay my message to. So I've got 100 songs, right?
Yeah.
But not all of them were driven towards this particular project. And, you know, the title track is called For the Country, right? Originally it was called Do It for the Country.
Yeah.
And a lot of people might say it's clickbait because me being a Marine and everything, but honestly, the way that song came about was I had a publishing deal with a company called SB21 downtown that we have since parted ways. You know, no ill will, you know, we just couldn't work it out. But I wrote it with a buddy of mine named Frankie Gene Courtney. And he actually wrote the song first. And he brought it to me. He's like, man, I know what you do. I love what you do. I want you to cut this song. And I said, listen, man, I don't have to be a writer on it, but if you want me to cut this song, we've got to change it.
Yeah.
He said, what do you mean? I said, because the opening line is like, Johnny, what was it? Johnny turned 18, he volunteered to be a Marine, and the next line was like, he spent a couple weeks in boot camp, and they shipped into the Middle East. I was like, Marines don't spend a couple weeks in boot camp, brother. I was like, so we need to go through this line by line. And we went through it line by line, and as we were doing that, Frankie and I both decided, you know what? This is really your life in chronological order.
Yeah.
So but the cool thing is I'm really involved in the veteran community, and I'm part of a veteran nonprofit called Warriors on Mission out of Birmingham, Alabama. And what we do is they've written a curriculum called the Hope Curriculum that talks about healing, opportunity, peace, and empowerment. So his name's Bob Waldrop, who did it, and he has started making these plants, and he would implant this curriculum at VFWs, American Legions, and churches. And through that, I'll go to these events and I'll play some acoustic songs that changed my life. And I'll meet some of the Gold Star families and the veterans, you know, combat veterans and things of that nature, and talk to them. Well, I met this really cool Gold Star family called the Zanowicks through the whole process, because we shot a documentary talking about, now this one's called Warriors on Mission, Trauma Comes Home, the Warrior Family. And it's driven directly towards family and how they deal with PTSD. Well, this Gold Star family that was interviewed, and I'm kind of like narrating certain parts of it.
Yeah.
The Zanowicks, their son, Rocky Zanowick, was a Marine, and he was in Afghanistan, and he had went out to, in a convoy to pick up some Marines who were in a firefight, and they got him back, and he realized that some of his members from his fire team were still out there because, his squad, his platoon, not his fire team. He went out, and he was trying to protect them while they had cover, and he took 2 in the chest, and he was killed in the line of fire. Well, I was talking to Frankie. I was like, you know what, man? I love the Zanowicks, and I've heard Rocky's story, and I want to let his memory live on. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, we're going to write this song with my life, but Rocky is going to be the focal point.
Yeah.
So the opening line is, Rocky turned 18. He volunteered to be a Marine. He got a set of tags and a rucksack, and they shipped him to the Middle East. And then the next one is like, Rocky bought a guitar, man. He learned how to bend them strings. Never thought in a million years he'd play in Nashville, Tennessee. So essentially, it's my life, but it's still paying homage to him. Yeah. And it turned out so great, man. And I'm really excited about it. So, you know, it's music for me is like therapeutic healing, man. And you know, you grind, and I go back and listen to some of the stuff that I first cut whenever I moved to town, and it's literally I'll throw up in my mouth because whenever I thought I was ready, I wasn't.
Yeah.
And it's just like going to the gym, man. The more you work the muscle, the better you get at it. And it's just been a huge part of my life. And, now, talking about earlier, like I came here with stars in my eyes and I was going to be the next big thing. Now, man, I just want to finish what I started. And, somewhere along the way, I forgot what it was I wanted to finish. And what I want to finish is I want to make sure that I can make the biggest impact with my music throughout the nation that I possibly can. And if it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. But I do know that I've talked to people that it has impacted. So if it was all over tomorrow, at least I changed one life, man. Because we only got so many spins around this earth, man. And all you can do is try to leave it just a little bit better than what you found it. And I feel like I've done that through the power of music.
No, that's absolutely amazing because, I think that's what a lot of us want to do, pretty much. I mean, if not everybody, but we all want to be able to leave that mark in our life and be able to, have our kids talk about it, and then our kids later on talk about it, and be able to say, my dad did this, or my dad did this, or my great grandfather did this, he was part of this, and it's, even myself, I got in the service, and I'm like, I believe it's like I'm the seventh generation is what my understanding is I'm the seventh generation in. I wanted to do it because it's a family tradition, and I wanted to leave that mark as knowing that I'm still carrying it on. And then as I got out of the service, I continued my mark by doing this podcasting, as well as running the nonprofit organization that I started, which is for Track Day for Veterans, where racing meets freedom. That's where I began to do that. And it just, again, it leaves that mark knowing that I'm helping other veterans and Gold Star family members to be able to help them out by getting them into these races and trying to get them to know that there's more stuff out there for them to be able to help them with their grief, if not to realize there's more hope out there that that they can live on with their lives, or be able to live with knowing that their kid enjoyed racing or whatnot. But also we tried to help with even treatments. We help with treatment with PTSD, where we provide the funding for treatment that is called the SGB. It's the Cellular Ganglion Blockage, through the Cellular Institute in Maryland. Actually in Annapolis, but we pay for that, which is something that the VA they don't pay for. It's not covered. No insurance, private insurance will cover it. It has to be paid out of pocket. And most veterans, or even anybody that has it, it's like $2,000. Nobody really has $2,000 to go and pay for something like that. So we, as a
That's
nonprofit,
really cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it's again, as a nonprofit that we get these donations or sponsorships, we help to pay that, if not 100%, if not we pay 75%, but we do what we can so we can help other veterans, and we don't want to turn any veteran away. But we also bridge the gap between other nonprofit organizations. If it's something we don't have or we can do, I know other organizations like the Travis Mills Foundation. I've was just talked to them some more, or it might be the Homeland Heroes Foundation, where they offer, bedding and stuff like that, furniture, gift cards for groceries or whatnot. There's other organizations that are out there that can help with other things. So it's that as well. So we try to bridge the gap between more organizations, not just our own.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to get you connected up with Bob at Warriors on Mission, man, because we were talking to a guy he's a Marine, and he's I think he's since moved to Arizona. His name's Daniel Danello, and he's up towards Worcester too. and we were talking about trying to get some training up there. So the whole platform of the training program is like, we'll come in and train leaders, and then those leaders will learn that curriculum, and then they teach a 10-week course or 2-week course or however long they want to go through it to a bunch of veterans, man, to where it's veterans helping veterans.
Yeah.
So we've been trying to get up towards New England to do it, but there's got to be a demand for it, because as you know, as a nonprofit, you know, you have to go out, you got to raise sponsors, and then, you know, you got travel time, and then if you're going to feed everybody lunch, I mean, there's a cost involved in it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize that. You know, it's a nonprofit, yeah, but somebody's paying for it.
Yeah.
And that's what people got to realize is like, if we don't take in donors or we don't do this, then we can't fulfill our mission. And that's one thing that people need to realize is like, any nonprofit you donate to, you're really helping out, no matter whether it's breast cancer awareness, PTSD, or whatever. You know, I mean, there's a board of directors there to help distribute the funds to put them to use to where it was actually can be used to what it was meant to be used for. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, and praise you, man, for doing the good work, man. That's awesome. Good for you.
Absolutely. And again, our like this organization, ours, and you know, a few others that I know of, it's 100% volunteer basis. Everything that we do, all of our board of directors and everything, we all volunteer our time. You know, we all make the calls. We all spend the, you know, countless hours and days organizing everything. You know, it's everything. So like it's like a 97.6%, you know, goes back to the veterans. There's like, you know, that, you know, less than 3% that doesn't, but it goes into like making, getting brochures ordered or whatnot.
Marketing and advertising. Yep.
Correct.
Yeah, because you got to have it.
Correct.
You got to have it.
Correct. You know, and I can tell you that I can call 110 different businesses to get donations. Out of those, or even sponsors, you know, I may only get, you know, say 12 or 15, that's a high number. Most nonprofits, sometimes it's like, it's even smaller. It's like 2 or 3 or 4 maybe. You know, again, it's how much time you put into it and effort you put into it. You know, and I still got more organizations that are going to be turning around and helping this year, but their fiscal year already, they ran out of money, but come next year they said they will be. So again, it's networking and be able to get it out there, and you know, again, marketing and advertising to be able to do it. But without the
and to that point, man, you know, I'm somewhat of an independent artist on an independent label with Label 22. The guy who's the head of it, his name is Stephen Cochran. He's a former Marine also. Mm-hmm. And what we're doing is we're trying to make that move like they did with the Music Mafia, but it's like, hey, we're a bunch of veterans and we're writing and performing some really cool stuff over here. Don't forget about us. Yeah. But what a lot of people don't realize is like these major labels, they have all the funding in the world from, you know, whether it's angel investors or venture capitalists or whatever. Yeah. So what we do is we go out and target sponsors just like you do, and try to find different strategic ways to place our stuff to where we can, and it's nonprofit as well, to where we can place our music to where we can subcontract those radio promoters and those social media management people and those advertisers and do exactly what they're doing on a bigger level, but doing it for, not saying they're not doing it for the right reasons, but try to take our voices and our label and what we're doing, we're trying to mainstream it, but we have to go find that money too. I tell everybody I've got a record label, but it's not funded. My record label is called Walker Dog Entertainment, and but that's my business name. Yeah. But you know, it's always blown my mind, man. You can go raise $100 million to shoot a film, but when you start talking to somebody about music and trying to fund a project for music, they run to the hills, man. Yeah. And I've never understood that. I mean, you've got some people, you know, I've been very fortunate in my career. I've had some small sponsors and small investors come to the table, but you know, I'd love to find that one Texas dude, man, who's got all that oil money to be like, hey man, you know what? I really love what you're doing. And then we can sit down and map everything out, bring him into Label 22 and be like, look, this is what we're doing. This is the end goal. Here's the whiteboard. Let's roll. Yeah. And it's the same thing with nonprofit world, whether it's nonprofit or for profit.
Yeah.
It's all business at the end of the day, and a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And it's
I just wanted to make that point, you know.
Oh no, you're good. Hey, we're rolling with this. We're just rolling. But again, it's a great avenue of what you're doing, what I'm doing, what all these other organizations that are doing it out there for the right reasons. I'm not going to down anybody for any organization that is doing it their way, because again, their way is their way, our way is our way, and what works for them works for them, but what works for them may not work for us.
It's the same thing in the music business, man. I tell everybody, Nashville is the biggest chessboard I've ever played, man. Yeah. Everybody moves their pieces a certain way. Some people get checkmate. Some people get to be the sacrificial pawn, man.
Yeah.
It just depends on how you play and how you move, man. And it really is. There's no blueprint.
Yeah.
You just have to do it and stick and see what sticks, and then whenever it sticks, it sticks.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I want to get into another question with you. Joining the military, even joining the Marine Corps, because the Marine Corps in itself is just so unique. Not everybody can be a Marine. Myself, I couldn't be a Marine. I took a different medication when I was a kid, unfortunately, and they're like, yeah, no, you can't be a Marine. So I went next door and went to the Army. They're like, yeah, hell yeah, we'll take you. But what inspired you to get into the Marine Corps? Was it a family tradition? Was it something that you just was like, I want to be the best of the best?
Well, that was part of it. I think the biggest thing was, as I was telling you, I was writing and all that stuff because I had a different kind of childhood, right?
Yeah.
And the one thing that my daddy told me whenever I was growing up, he said, if you got any sense in the world, you'll join the military. And my dad, he was old logger, man, from old school and rough and tough. And I was like, he never was very emotional.
Yeah.
He never told me he was proud of me. So I was like, well, man, you know what? He's got a point. I think I'm going to join the Marine Corps. So that kind of happened, and then it came down to I was dating this girl right after high school. I'd only been out of high school for a year. And at the time I got out of high school, I needed to start trying to figure out something with my life. The Marine Corps was still a backdrop in my mind. But I went to her birthday party, and I'll never forget it. I told you I started young. She had this karaoke machine, and I was singing George Strait, and she pulled me to the side, and it was like this, what was it? The song I was singing to her on her birthday was Our Love's Unconditional. You know it from the start. You know what I mean? That song, I Crossed My Heart. That's what it was.
Okay, yeah.
And she pulled me out front, and she was like, listen, I can't do this anymore. We'd only been dating for like 3 months, but I thought she was the one, man. I was just like, you know what, get married, have kids, the white picket fence, the whole deal. Doff off a couple youngins, eat fried food, and we're good.
Yeah.
But she did that, and I left her house, and I went straight to the recruiting office and talked to the Marine Corps recruiter. I was like, if we're going now. I said, what I got to do? He's like, oddly enough, I got a ship date tomorrow. I was like, really? He said, yeah. I said, okay. And I was born with a cleft palate. So, and I had tried to get into the National Guard, like, right out of high school, and I couldn't get in because of my cleft palate. They told me I had to have a waiver, and they'd already sent me back from MEPS, so I couldn't join. So, he was like, all right, let me make a phone call. He's like, Top says, Master Sergeant, says he thinks he can get you through with a waiver to join. I was like, okay, cool. So, went home. I signed the contract that night. I went home, told my mama, and I had to be back at the recruiting office at 8 o'clock the next morning to go down to MEPS, to do MEPS and do the physical and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I went in, I took the IST test, went through the physical, they checked my cleft palate, got a waiver for it, and I was on the footprints by 5 o'clock that afternoon. So it was more or less for me, it's like, hey, you know what? I don't get mad, I get even.
Yeah.
But I always knew I wanted to be a Marine because my dad kind of drove, and the initial thing was when I even thought about it being a Marine was I remember watching Glory, that movie Glory with Matthew Broderick in it.
Yep.
And I saw the uniforms, and I was like, oh, wow, that's really cool. Even though it was an Army regiment, they still wore the dark blue, like the dress blue uniforms. And I'd had a couple guys that I knew from high school that joined the Marine Corps also. And I was just like, all right, let's go. And then I got in. And oddly enough, whenever I got in, I mean, the night before, I knew I was going to be pushing weight. My recruiter told me, he's like, hey, man, spit as much as you can spit. Take magnesium citrate, get it off.
Yeah.
And I did that because you got to weigh in at MEPS before you go to recruit training.
Yep.
So I made weight at MEPS, but we ate that night. And when I got to recruit training, I did not make weight. I was like 3 pounds over of my initial weight. So they put me in pork chop platoon. I was in PCP for a month. Yep. So most people spend 3 months on the island. I spent 4, and I was there from April to August. Yep. And it was the hottest time to be at Parris Island. But you know what? I'm glad I went through the PCP thing, man, because I found out there whenever I got dropped to my platoon, which I got dropped to 3rd Battalion, Platoon 3068. Yep. When I got dropped, I knew that I was going to be more ready and more present for what was to come other than these other recruits.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a trial run for me to like, okay, man, this is really happening. And I knew exactly what to expect from the DIs. Yep. Not that you still know everything to expect, but I kept in the back of my mind, and I forgot this part, man, when I got to MEPS, you know, and I made weight. We're supposed to be able to do like 1.5 pull-ups, and I'm 6'3", man. I got a very long reach. I should have been a boxer. But at that time, they got rid of kipping, and it was dead hangs. Yeah. And to do 3 dead hang pull-ups, man, at 6'3", that's a task. Yeah. So I got through 2 1/4 of them, and the sergeant major looked at me and said, you didn't make the pull-ups, man. I can't let you go. And I looked at the sergeant major, and I said, Sergeant Major, I'm going to tell you something. I can't go back home. Yeah. I said, I can't go back home. You don't understand. I was like, you let me through. I promise you I will be the poster child for the Marine Corps. And I did. I got through. I went through recruit training, and everything I did, I kept in the back of my mind because I made that promise to that sergeant major. But everything was moving so fast, I don't even know his name. I just remember the conversation. I remember what he looked like. I know exactly what he looked like. Yeah. But it was, so for me, failure was not an option. And, you know, I've been very fortunate, you know, everything I've kind of put my mind to, I've always accomplished. And I think that's just the Marine mentality. But I'm still trying to get over that brick wall here, or whatever you want to call it, in the music business. You know, it's just like, all right, this is what I want to do. And I apply that training, believe it or not, to everything I do with my music. Whether it's writing, hey, man, it sucks. You need to do better. Or whether it's performing, hey, you know what? That was a good show, but maybe you need to get some lights, or maybe you need to hit this note differently. And I'll go back and I'll watch tape, man, and I study it. Yeah. Because, you know, it's just the Marine in me. That's just what we do. But yeah, I think the biggest thing for me as far as joining the Marine Corps, man, it was more or less trying to have a point to prove. Yeah. And it was the best decision I ever made in my life, because had I not joined, it's oddly enough, I was back in my hometown this weekend playing their big 4th of July festival. Yep. And my staff NCOIC, who I served with, drove up from Georgia to hang out with me. And he walked up to my mom and dad, and my dad looked at him and said, thank you for taking care of my boy, because had he not joined the military, he would have ended up in the grave. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. So I'm glad that I actually earned the title, because we started with 85 recruits and we graduated 52, and I happened to be one of them. Nice. So like you said, just because you go to PI don't mean you come off of it a Marine.
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. It's so true. I've seen it myself, and there's so many people that I've seen get dropped out of out right at Hell Week. And go home, and they can't go back because of, you know, whatever reason. And it's like, Jesus, you know, it's crazy. But it's what makes the Marine Corps, because it's the few of the proud. It's not anybody and everybody, you know, go in, come out. You know, it's a washout. Unfortunately, it's just the way it is, and the way it will always be, because it's just the Marine Corps. It's they don't want just, you know, any Joe Blow able to come in there, as they quote unquote, with what we say in the Army. It's like, we don't want the fat body. You know, we don't want it. You know, myself, I can speak just as much as you were talking about with a waiver. I was 275 pounds when I joined the Army. I got a waiver.
Oh wow!
I got a waiver for my weight. I just had to be the what they call the tape test, which I that's what I passed. I got through because of the tape test. When I left basic and AIT, I kid you not, dude, I was 196 pounds. I wish I had a before photo, but this was me leaving basic.
Oh wow!
You know, I was 195 pounds, 196 pounds. I couldn't run the mile in 18 minutes when I originally started. By the time I left basic, I was running it in like 14:45. You know, I ended up doing the airborne, going to airborne school, and I was able to run the 2 miles. By the time I left there, I was like at just under 13:20, I think it was just under 13:20 or so. So again, it's I told everybody when I was getting in, I'm like, dude, I'll be the best, and I'll lose this weight. It's just not as easy, and then I blow up like a fish when I get out because of, you know, my injuries. I take steroids. You know, it's a hard way to lose weight once you're on steroids because of the inflammation in my back. So totally get it. It's I can tell you again, it's an absolute amaze. I'm proud to be, you know, that I joined the service. You know, just as much as, you know, you feel proud to earning the title of as a U.S. Marine Corps, you know, veteran.
We're all brothers on the battlefield. It don't matter what branch we are.
Absolutely.
And that's what I tell everybody. Somebody has to be like, man, I was in the Navy. I was like, great, man. So was I. He's like, really? I was like, yeah, I was in the men's department. And they're like, what? I was like, I was a Marine.
Yeah.
And then we'll just go back and forth. I'm like, hey, you know what? Don't matter. We can give each other a bunch of jargon, but when it comes to go time, everybody's got everybody's back.
Absolutely.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand, man. Is like, veterans are tight for a reason because we all been in the suck together.
Yeah.
And we try to have each other's back no matter what branch of service we're in. We still rag on each other, give each other a hard time, but that's just us. That's what we do.
Absolutely.
But you know, it's crazy, man. But it's something that has been a part of my life, and it was a defining moment in my life. And being in the music business, there's more Marines that I actually realized. Like, you know, I've done some shows with Jamie Johnson, and he's a Marine. Yeah. Casey Chestnut this weekend, I did a show with, who's Mark Chestnut's son. He was a Marine. Yeah. Josh Grayson's a Marine. Who else? Cody Jinks was in the Marine Reserves. Yeah. I mean, it's like, and I think a lot of that happens because of the drive and the determination that we have. I mean, it's, you know, we see the hill and we take the hill.
Yeah.
There is no defeat, man. No matter how long it takes.
No,
so
absolutely, and it goes without saying. It's a lot of people just don't realize it of who you know, served their country, you know, without really talking about it or asking them about, you know, if they did, you know, serve. It's just something that's not sometimes said. But as touching on what you said, you know, all of us veterans, we do have that sense of we need to take care of each other, and it doesn't matter what branch. You know, we do. We look to our left, we look to our right, and we'll take care of one another. It doesn't matter what it is. If I know there's a veteran that needed help or needed, you know, say a shirt, I would give the shirt off my back to them. I would give them the last $10 or $20 I have in my wallet to help them out, because again, it's just that sense of it's that sense in my body that I know that I need to be able to help them out. It doesn't matter what it takes, you know. Even if they need a place to sleep, it's like, here's my bed. You know, here's downstairs. Go, you know, sleep in the bed downstairs. Take whatever time. But you know, that's just who we are, who I am.
We are, and that's what we do, man.
You know, I want to talk about, you know, the one of the songs that you have out there that, you know, that Michelle sent me, which that you said that you wanted her to send me, and that was the Keith song.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that a little bit. You know, what's the whole backing on that and everything?
So, honestly enough, I mean, I don't know if I said this earlier, but my son is a very gifted musician, right?
Yeah.
And we was going down for Christmas last year, and he looked at me and said, "Dad," we was going back home for Christmas, and it was like a 6-hour road trip. He's like, "Hey, Dad, you know what? I want to write a song called Feeling Whitley." Like, what inspired that? You know, son's an old soul. He's young, but he loves good traditional country music. And I said, "What inspired that?" He's like, "Man, I just love Keith Whitley, man. He's one of my favorites." I was like, "Has he impacted your life? I mean, does he really touch your soul?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, I love Keith Whitley too, man. He's one of my inspirations." I said, "But when you know him like we do, son, you don't know him by Keith Whitley. You know him as Keith. You go on a first name basis with him." I was like, "That's how we need to write this song."
Yeah.
So I started listening to some of the songs, and he came up with a line that's like, "Been known to hit some old side roads more than a time or two."
Yep.
And I said, "Yeah, combing through my soul, searching for 3 chords in the truth, man." And we just started writing it, and we paid homage to a lot of his hits, man, like Kentucky Bluebird, and we got all the way down to like the second verse, and I was like, "You know what? The demons always win when you say nothing at all." And then we put that melody in there, and it just all came together. Yeah. And it's more or less, you know, it's an impactful song about, you know, how much of an impact Keith Whitley made, not only just in country music, but he's still impacting generations. My son is a prime example. So I think, you know, people like that need to be honored through song, which actually is where they got it from. And yeah, it just came together. And then whenever we got done writing it, his buddy Wyatt Brown came over here, and he was talking, and we got some of his intake on it. So Wyatt's one of the songwriters on it also. And I was telling him, I was like, "Man, you know what? I don't want it overproduced. I want it raw, and I want it stripped down." Because Keith started his whole career in bluegrass. I was like, we need to pay homage to that. And man, we've got nothing but guitar, fiddle, and upright bass on it. And there's a cajon slapping in the background, and I think there's a shaker. But it's so pure and it's innocent, and in listening to the song, it follows, and you can hear the storyline, man. And it's just, I love that song, and I'm very, very proud of it. And you know, it goes back to me saying earlier, you know, finishing what I started and doing what I do, you know, being impactful with this song the way he impacted me as a kid growing up, because he was one of my influences. If this song does that for somebody else, then yeah, man, I've done it. And I think it will, because it's weird how nostalgia is coming back now. A lot of people's playing older music, you know, whether it's Fleetwood Mac or Clay Walker or whatever.
Yeah.
But this is actually paying homage to that era of music, and I think it's going to rattle some cages because it talks about one of the legends of country music. So, yeah, I'm really excited about it. It's very heartfelt, and something else that's really cool is the fact that I got to write one with my son and actually record it and put it on this project for the world to hear. So that's, you know, talk about legacies, man. I mean, I think I'm building one, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I got to say, you know, knowing the songs of Keith Whitley, it's one of the... I remember when I was a kid, my grandfather would play songs like from him and all that. And it was Tell Lori I Love Her, you know, was one of them. You know, and then there was Miami on my way, or Miami.
Miami.
I believe it was that. Yeah. Was another one. So again, it's those songs going back to those days, and be able to feel the country that was in that. That's where country, not where country started, but it's what my feeling of what country music is. Some of the country music that might be in today's world that's being sung may not be, what I may think may not be country to me, but it's still, I get where country music has that roller coaster a little bit of how it goes, but it's definitely, I gotta give it to you. I listened to that song on my way home. When she sent it, I was playing it. I'm like, this is definitely good, because I think she was like, she sent me a few of them, but I was listening to some of them, and I'm like, yeah, I definitely love this. And that was the one that I loved, was the Keith one. So
there's always one in every crowd, brother.
Absolutely. So again, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day today. I know we've been going on. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Maybe we can do it another one later on, another day.
I'd love to, man. This has been fun.
Absolutely. And just let you know, I sent you a package. It will be, I just sent it out yesterday, so you probably won't be getting it until after the 4th. But I look forward to you receiving it. Send me a picture of it, because I would love to definitely see it. And I know you will cherish it. I know you will love it. So, and again, I really appreciate it. I'm going to have Beavis and Butthead take it out. Not a problem. I'm going to have Beavis and Butthead tell us what they think about the show. It's the end of the show, and again, I appreciate you coming on this evening, Chris. And again, big shout out to all of our sponsors and everything. All right, let Beavis and Butthead take it over. Not a problem, man. Have a good one.
Shut up! Shut up!
Yeah, shut up!
You suck!
Stop, in the name of all that which does not suck.
Thanks for watching Fubar Studios Veteran Reinforcement. Please make sure to check out the Fubar Studios on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and visit the website at fubarstudio.com. Fubar Studios is a Code Sinister One production.